This segment is sponsored by Travis W. Watkins Tax Resolution and Accounting Firm. It's Tax Tip Tuesday with Travis W. Watkins Tax Resolution and Accounting Firm. Dealing with the IRS is pretty scary, and they actually meant it to be that way. There are some old wives' tales out there, though, that actually add to the IRS's bad boy reputation. So we're going to be putting the winner of the Oklahoma Reader's Choice Awards for Best Taxation Attorney, that is principal and senior attorney with the firm, Travis W. Watkins. He put him on the spot and asked him some of the most frequently asked questions people have about the IRS, and maybe some of those wives' tale as well. Now, filing taxes is voluntary. Does that mean, though, that you can file if you want to or not?
Oh boy, don't we wish, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And there's actually quite a few people out there that they call them tax protesters, and the IRS has got a special place in their heart to the extent that they have one for these type of people. The argument goes something like this: the 16th Amendment, which provides for income taxes in America, was somehow never ratified, and so therefore it's a voluntary system and we may not have to pay. But that's a big time myth.
Yeah.
Voluntary means that you are responsible for coming up with your own tax return and preparing it in such a way that you're paying the correct amount of tax, and that's it. Doesn't mean that you don't have to pay.
That word throws people off, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
When we think that, we think, well, yeah, as options. All right, let's talk about what the IRS can do. You will go to jail if you don't pay your taxes. Will the IRS actually send you to jail if you owe them money?
That's another myth. Owing the IRS some money is really not a prerequisite to jail.
Okay.
There's a couple of things. Fraud will land you in jail with the IRS. Also, if you willfully fail to file a tax return. And what that means is that after many attempts by the IRS to get you to file a tax return, you just outright say, no, I'm not going to do it. Maybe because it's voluntary.
Maybe one of those people, right?
Right.
Indeed.
Doesn't work.
Well, you're talking about, that they give you opportunities. There's a belief out there that the IRS only goes back 3 years on your income tax. Can they go back even further than that?
Yeah, that's a very common audit myth. It is true that the typical IRS audit is going to be a 3-year look-back period. They can go up to 3 years. Okay. However, if they find what they call a substantial underreporting, and what that means is you've underreported the amount of your income 20% or more, they can and often do go back up to 6 years on an audit. So that's why we always tell people, hey, hold on to your tax information for at least 6 or 7 years in case there's some issue there in an audit, and then they come back and go back on you up to 6 years. At least you've got stuff to back those expenses and deductions up to the IRS.
Okay, so if you have 3 years and the IRS hasn't called you, you're not off the hook, basically, is what you're saying.
You may not be off the hook.
All right, last question here. If you owe the IRS money, all you'll get from the IRS is a payment plan. Is that true?
That's something that we hear quite a bit, too, is, hey, the IRS is only going to give me a payment plan if I owe them money, and that's the only type of relief that I'm going to get. Not completely true. There are other programs that the IRS has to offer. The offer in compromise is the biggest one, and that's where you can save substantially. There's also things like penalty forgiveness, and sometimes bankruptcy even works. That's another myth that can also help you out as well. So not just installment agreements with the IRS.
All right, and really just getting on top of them and staying on top of them, making sure that you're doing the right thing is where you need to be in your life. And Travis W. Watkins Tax Resolution and Accounting Firm is there to help. They're at 3033 Northwest 63rd Street, Suite 200E. Their phone number is 405-607-1192. You can call them toll free at 800-721-7054. You can find them online at traviswatkins.com.